Sean will be here. Anthony will be here, or he's here. Ollie Reyes, are you still here?
Yeah.
Alex Octavia's here.
Oh, Alex Octavio, okay.
Yeah.
Ollie Reyes is here, and then Centella is still here.
Yep. Centella's here.
And Ruben.
Yeah, that's me.
Ruben, you are like the essence of energy.
The rootster.
Like, are you ever tired? Like, you're just like Mr. And he's drinking Powerade.
Yeah, this is my source to keep myself from getting tired.
Maybe have sugar, but it's still a good drink.
Yeah.
Are you drinking iced coffee?
Yes.
I have a long day. And I gotta stay
Or are
awake.
you drinking iced coffee?
Because he likes it.
I like it. I basically pour regular coffee and I put a little bit of stuff and I mix it. What I really want to do is go down to Starbucks and pick up something, but I don't know.
Wish I can go to Starbucks, but right now.
I got though the other day. It was like a pumpkin nitro brew thing. It was super good, like really good. Sweet, good. It was worth it. So I still have money card, so I still get. Oh, Joanne, hi. I'm sorry.
Hi.
Too. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay.
Hey, Joanne.
I'm here.
So this is my favorite class ever.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best online class I ever had. Not really do like this, but the subject is kind of confusing because I feel like it overlaps. Career online kind of overlaps with individual living skills and support. But we're gonna still roll with this. So, how many of you now, if you're Ashley, you're Jude, or you're Troy, you're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about. So don't worry about it. But for my other guys, how many of you went on and actually took the test, the career test? Did anyone do that? The career inventory where you had to fill out 30 questions?
Yes.
Did it?
Yeah. When I was back in Walgreens.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the website?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what I did, I'm just thinking of the problem we had earlier. It's so ridiculous. I lost my train of thought. Rebecca, where was I?
The class, the job.
The class.
The career.
The career class.
If anybody took the career test.
Yes, the career. Okay, yeah. Okay. So career test. Oh, it's gonna log me out. Don't log me out. So we saw bad advocacy, tone. We did that earlier. Blah blah blah. Schoology. So for your school. So yesterday you took the test, and what you were supposed to do is you were supposed to write about some of the examples that came up as far as career. For today, for Jude, Jude and Ashley and Troy, what I'm putting up for your guys' link, and this is for everyone else too, is I put up the link for that website. So not specifically that career test, but for that website. So I published it. All right, so now this is what I wrote. This is for tomorrow. Some of you already took the career and interest inventory survey and wrote about results. For today's work, I want you to explore the career website further and explore some of the information it has to offer. Focus on both supports and career exploration.
I am the voice actress for Farah. Farah reporting for duty.
Dope. And Zenyatta, he is the wise old beard.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Hello, I'm Theodore Chin. I play Zenyatta. Experience tranquility.
I want you to just say that to me all day long during this quarantine.
Yeah, that would be great.
Wouldn't it be nice? I'm just gonna record you and play it nonstop. Lucy.
Hello, I am Lucy Pole, and I play Mercy. Someone call the Wambulance.
You really say the Wambulance?
Yeah, it's a new,
so
relative new voice line.
I love it. So happy. I'm so happy about that. I might have to go to Cameo and request you to do a video for me to sing the Wambulance.
Yeah, I'm gonna raise my prices just for you.
I'll let you know when I've sent it, and then you can send them back down for everything else.
Perfect.
My name is Josh Petersdorf, and I play the Shakespearean legend known as Roadhog. Ready to go, whole hog.
You just made me so want to hear Roadhog do Shakespeare.
What doth light?
It sounded like Alan Rickman.
What light through yonder window great?
Doth light.
Some kind of like.
Good morning. Good to see everybody. And Keith.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Silverstein, voice of Torbjorn. Ready to work.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
I'm his hype man. I'm Torbjorn's hype man.
Flavor Flav.
Torbjorn is also one of my favorite names just to say for no reason, just to say Torbjorn. It's just like randomly throughout the day gives me great joy. But
I love how you say it.
Even before quarantine, I didn't get out very much. So,
You have to say it 3 times fast, though.
I know, Torbjorn. Like I want him to appear like Rumpelstiltskin.
You have to hold a hammer up and stare into the hammer and then say it 3 times. If you want him
what
to
if I just hold on to my Torbjorn keychain over there? Can I do that?
You should try it. It might work.
What about the dance they made up for you in Kuwait, Keith?
Did I have a Torbjorn dance?
Yes.
A special one in
Remember
Kuwait?
the crazy Torbjorn dance that they made up?
No, you're going to have
Oh,
to show me.
What? That was like, I think someone out there.
I remember the
needs to
dance he
find this
does.
for us.
I remember the cheese treats.
Cheese.
Oh, speaking of cheese, how about that for a segue? I know we've all been separated and mostly quarantining in our homes, and I know obviously, Boris, you are in the land of far away for the rest of us because you're all the way across the sea. But during this time, or even like in this last year, is there any like new new skills or new hobbies or new fun things that you guys have taken on, or new things that you've learned to do? I know all of us had to learn to put together a home studio, those of us who didn't have one, so there's that. But other things that might be fun or things that you didn't expect that you would have found out or didn't expect that you would have done?
I started learning to play the guitar. I learned how to make banana bread out of quinoa flour, almond flour, regular flour, and whole wheat flour. And
No bananas?
I learned
No
how
bananas.
to What?
Well, which was better? Which flour was better?
Yeah, which one was the best?
I really like, this is going to sound so douchey, but I really like the quinoa flour,
Okay.
I have to say.
That doesn't sound
I can see
tasty.
that.
And almond flour is great for cookies, but that time is behind me. I no longer bake. That was just a phase.
Okay.
I was baking
you
a lot,
achieved
and
it.
now it's over. What?
You achieved it. Mission accomplished. Check, and then you're like,
Done.
on to the guitar. How are you feeling about the guitar? Like, are you feeling Christy about
feeling-
what's going on?
I'm feeling like you're supposed to practice, and if you don't,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's,
I started with "Wish You Were Here," Pink Floyd, and that was it during like kind of the middle of the quarantine. And I would get to the part where it's like, how I wish you were here, and then I would just cry. And it would make me feel so in touch with my rock star self. And then I smash the guitar, and then
Excellent. Did you do some Pete Townsend? You got to do some Pete Townsend windmills before you smash it.
But yeah, that one and Redemption Song. Those are the two I know how to play now. Oh, and I learned that Redemption Song, he says triumphantly, and I always thought it was try home friendly, but it's actually triumphantly. Another thing I learned.
try home friendly.
Thing to know.
Try home friendly.
I love those moments when you have a lyric that you misunderstand. You guys remember that song of "Move Aside and Let the Man Go Through"? Let the man go through.
Yeah.
I have a friend who thought it was "Move Aside and Let the Man Go Through." Let the man go through. So so you get an idea of like a big walking mango, like walking through, like Mr. Peanut.
Or like Rock the Casbah, Rock the Cat Box. Rock the Cat Box.
This
So
is
many.
my best friend from college. Hers was Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and it's that can't let me in your penthouse. She was convinced it's cat can't pee in the penthouse. And I'm like, dude,
I mean, both of those are
cat
true.
can't pee. Like, no, it's that, yeah.
Both of those are true, though. Both of those are accurate. The cat can't pee and the cat
It's true. The cat can't pee in the penthouse. Yeah.
Okay, wait.
The classic song that
Wait.
What a Fool Believes. For the longest time, no judgment, I was singing, the white man has the power. I always thought it was the white man.
There we go.
I didn't judge it. I was like, no, he's right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Sorry to go on this lyric thing, but all Latinos thought that this is the rhythm of the night. Oh yeah. They thought it said, are those Reeboks or are they Nikes? Because in Spanish it's just Nike. Esos son Reeboks son Nike. Oh yeah. So things translate weird.
And what are they?
I think they're Asics, but
Yeah. Sure. Pumas. Pumas. Yeah.
BK Nights.
Remember those?
Remember those?
I do. I think I was in high school when those came out. Oh my God.
Boris, what have you been doing, learning, finding out over the last years? I know you've just released some information about a new project, so I don't know if that's
Yeah. Well, no, that's it. I mean, I've been really lucky because I've just been busy. I haven't. I mean, I feel I'm happy that that's the way it is, but sometimes I'm a bit jealous of all these actors that can can learn a language and an instrument and banana bread. I would love to do that, but I'm sure you guys have been really busy as well. But I've just been getting crazy slaving away on this video game called Ori and the Will of the Wisps with a company called Moon Studios, and we released that in April. And up until then, it was just go, 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 go. And then straight on to the next project, which I can't really talk about. But what we kept a secret and was just unsecreted was that we worked on a Switch version of Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is out today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was really, really fun project. Because I don't know if you guys know it, but it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. And I worked on it as an animator and doing a voice of a big toad called Korlok. And I was involved with the story department as well, developing kind of cinematics and the flow of the storytelling of the game. So it was a lot of fun, really intense, really crazy. And and I was involved with casting as well and doing voice directing for the other actors.
Thanks for casting
us.
us.
All right. What am I, chopped liver? Come on. Hey.
Oh, I don't know what that's strange.
I kept calling and no one picked up the phone. Haven't learned anything new. I'm sorry to say. I mean, kind of, practicing.
But that in and of itself, I mean, I'm hoping everybody else is interested as I am, because we don't get to talk about this as much. Being someone who's on both sides, or on like 7 different sides of this apparently septagon, what's it like doing all of those different things? You have to really compartmentalize. Okay, now I'm working on it just as the actor, or are you always thinking of it from all different angles while you're participating in those different things, like a producer, director, actor would do? Or how does that work for you?
Well, it's just no sleep and no life, and just doing lots of doing.
Sure.
I mean, it wasn't. It wasn't quite as crazy as. I directed this kids' TV series a couple of years ago, and I was so burnt out by it because as a director, you really do a little bit of everything. And then I wanted an easy job working from home, which is why I signed up for this one. And but when I really got my teeth sunk in, they asked me to do more and more and more and more, and I was happy to do it because I was so passionate about the project. And so it kind of came natural to just do a lot of different things. They allowed me to do it. They needed people to do it. It's a really interesting infrastructure they have at that studio, where they allow everyone to kind of contribute what they will if they can, and everyone feeds in. So there's a hierarchy, but no one is like anyone's boss and like you do this and I'll do this. It's kind of everyone feeds into the project, and that was just So I never took on more than I could chew, but it was always tight and always kind of going. There was always many fires to put out.
Well,
but
Boris,
it's kind of
you're also learning to be a new dad. That's a huge job.
Yes. Oh yeah. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. Little Willow, I just showed her before the call started. She had her first birthday on Saturday, the 12th.
Oh my God.
So it's been the best year of my life and the craziest year of my life. And Josh is in the same boat, right?
Yes. We got Willow and Sunny. We're now girl dads. Me and Boris are girl dads for the win.
Girl dads are
Keith's a girl dad too. That's right.
Yeah, Keith, absolutely. Keith can give you some hot tips.
You know what I've learned through quarantine? I have a new mantra. Maybe Zenyatta can say this for me. It's only kindergarten. and that keeps me alive because I have to sit with my 5-year-old while she does her online class, which she usually doesn't she just wants to color and draw things and half listen to the teacher. And so when I find myself getting frustrated because I'm trying to make her focus and she's doing it a different way, or I say it's only kindergarten, like it's going to be fine. We'll get through this crazy 2020 year of remote school, and everything will be fine.
At least.
Wow.
Say it again, Phil.
At least they're not in high school.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's so funny. Yeah. See, now, and my long-standing mantra along this vein has been like, children grow up in crack houses. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Like this is always, I'm like, children grow up in Krakow. He's going to be fine. So it's you know what? They're going to survive. Everyone's going to be okay with coronavirus. I was on the phone this morning with someone who was really worried about like middle school and kids falling behind and how are they going to do? And it's easier when they're younger. And I'm like, look, every child in the world is going to be struggling this year with school. Like everyone's going to get a little messed up this year. Yeah. Everyone's going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. We're all going to catch up. If there was a little bump this year, everyone will catch up and everyone will know, oh, how old were you in 2020? It's going to be fine. So don't worry. All the parents of the younger children, the kids will be fine.
And they found life on Venus, so we can go there too.
There's that too. Everyone's going to be fine.
I'm seeing Crispin's face as that happens, and I'm just our resident astronomy expert.
Tell us about the discoveries on Venus, Kristen. Tell us.
It was like,
wasn't it? Found the life.
I mean, if you like breathing acid, by all means, move to Venus. Sounds like a fabulous place to be.
Breathing it.
That's like a slightly uninhabitable atmosphere. Just slightly.
I think you're better off on the
We live in
moon.
New York, okay? We breathe acid every day.
True.
We're ready
True.
for the clouds of Venus.
Los Angeles would agree with you right now. We've been breathing acid for the past about week and a half as well. So.
Oh my gosh.
A little bit of something.
And we're sharing it with the world.
Yes.
Yay.
You're welcome, world.
Have some Canada, have some Idaho. Enjoy our smog.
Yes.
It's going to Europe. It's going to Europe.
I want to let us get to some of these fan questions that are coming in hot. I was going to say hot and heavy. They're not coming in hot and heavy, but they are coming in fast and furious. This is interesting. What do you guys feel, if anything, is the unifying trait for all great voice actors? Do you have any
commitment?
You're the newest to our merry band, and so I'm interested in hearing what you think, like especially coming into this gang of weirdos that we are. Do you feel like there is Jeannie? Yes. Do you feel like did you have a favorite great voice actor, and what do you feel like is the unifying trait among all of them?
I don't know if I have a favorite voice actor. I just love voices. I love languages. I love people communicating and using their entire body as the instrument. But I think it actually, Caro just said it. Commitment. It's huge. And one thing I do want to say about voice acting is that this is like my first big gig. It's so huge. It was so unexpected. There's a part of me that felt like, wow, there are so many voice actors out there. They're brilliant. There are people who are just, they're so in it. They're so dedicated. And I do multiple things. So in some ways I'm like, I'm not worthy. There are people who are slogging their guts to, and they're practicing, they're taking care of their voice. But I think if you just love sharing story, and you love using the instrument, I think that's what we all love doing. We all love telling story in our own unique or made up kind of way. So, that's what I feel about voice. I know that everybody has a different approach to it, and I'm just in awe of all of you. So I really do feel like I'm not worthy, but at the same time, I'm very happy to accept the invitation and to be here with you all. So that's my nugget of my experience.
Well, you're very worthy because you kill Echo. Yes, Kristen.
I would say that the unifying thing that I find in voice actors, and I would say this probably applies to artists in general, is they're obsessed. There's a certain obsession that comes from someone who wants to do artwork on a professionally competitive level. And that obsession can take many different forms. Some people are obsessed with character. They're obsessed with doing different types of characters and figuring out the psychology of characters. Some people are obsessed with sound. Right, they're obsessed with creating different sounds with their mouth and whatnot. I'm the kind of person who's obsessed with story. I'm obsessed with the meaning behind story and the structure of story, and so I always want to figure out how can I play a character that will serve the story best. Some people are obsessed with collaborating with their fellow actors.
They love just feeding off other actors and figuring that out. Everyone's got their different obsession. But if you ever try to pin down anyone who's successful as a voice actor, as an actor, or as a creative in general, there's something that they're obsessed about that they just, they get it between their teeth and they won't let go.
Love that.
That's a great point. Paul.
I think for me, it's imagination. I think voice actors have to have just amazing imagination because, you just get a script and you don't have any visual at all. So, you have to sort of create all of that, in your mind. I mean, especially when you have scenes where someone says, oh yeah, this monster's, just came out of the ocean and he's turning towards you and you have to run and then you have to fall down 20 steps, flights of stairs and then, make this sound. You have to be able to see all of that in your mind, and that's what makes it more interesting, and fun when you can actually see that.
Yeah, definitely agreed. Jen?
I always think that the common denominator is voice actors have to be good listeners. And I think in general, whether you're a voice actor for games or for animation or for commercials, you have to be good at listening to the group that you're in. You have to be listening for timing. You have to take direction well. You have to, if there's source material, you have to listen to that. If there are questions being asked of you that you're responding to, you have to hear questions. I feel like being a deep, interested, curious listener is what makes you a good voice actor. And every good voice actor, a successful voice actor I know really listens well.
Sorry, what did you say?
Someone had to do it. It had to be the comedian.
Okay.
Someone had to step in. Thank you for doing that we depend on you for that.
I suppose as well the ability to think on your feet, right? That kind of feeds into what Jen is saying, that very often with voiceover gigs, with regular film and television jobs, you get a script a while in advance, and you get to learn your lines, and you even get to talk to people about it, probably maybe rehearse a little bit. And so when you do the thing on the day, you got a pretty good idea of what's going on. With voice acting, you often don't get the script until you're in the booth. And even if you do get the script, it's often not until a night in advance or something, and you read it and you think, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And then you bring all that to the session, and then the director tells you for the first time, oh, I want you to do this, and this, and that, which is completely different. And then you go, and then you still have to be able to kind of deliver what they want on the spot and as fast as possible, please, because we only have 45 minutes to do this. So, yeah, thinking on your feet is, I think, and being able to still make that sound kind of fresh and spontaneous and good is I don't know how people do it because it's hard.
Well, I think I agree with you. The sense of the combination of immediacy and a giant sense of play, just a willingness to play, because we all need that as actors in all media. But we know no matter what we're doing, we need that sense of okay, sure, I'll try this without judging ourselves. But I think it's so vital in voice acting to just be okay, go with the flow and create on the fly. It's amazing to watch other people. It's amazing to watch some of the folks, especially a lot of the folks in this cast, to watch them do that in other sessions and stuff. I know Carolina's had the same experience being able to watch Fred just kind of
And Darren DePaul.
Spread it up. And Darren, yeah, both of them. And just kind of watch them just come up with 20 different characters and voices on the fly that are so completely different. And it's really fun to watch everybody doing that. Someone wants to know, what is your process for developing a new voice for a new character? Do you feel comfortable embodying that character anytime, anywhere? Does anyone have a specific process or a process that they use regularly or anything like that? Crispin.
Yeah, sure. My goal is always to try to find the psychological center of the character. I think a lot of times when people think about voice acting, they think it's about finding some sort of funny voice for the character. But if you try to do some vocal pyrotechnics for a character, that's like the sauce you're putting on something, and there's no amount of ketchup that will make up for bad acting. Like you actually have to have the psychological center of the character underneath, and then you can put some sauce on it if you want, you know. So people think, oh, like my Winston voice, I just came up with a big rough voice. Well, if I just did that, it would sound dumb. Like I have to know where the psychology of the character is coming from. And usually when I'm trying to help my students figure out the psychology of a character, the two big questions that I like to make them answer is, what is a character obsessed with, and what were they hurt by? And usually those two are connected, right? Like what's their main sort of damage, and what are they obsessed with? And the two often relate, and that can give you a good starting point about trying to figure out where the character comes from. And then as a voice actor, I think it's far more important to be the actor of 1,000 psychologies than the actor of 1,000 voices, because it's the psychology that will actually make the character different. Like when they used to, when before we lost Joe Alasky, who used to do the voice of Daffy Duck, they would ask Joe, you know, can you do Daffy Duck for us? And he would say, which one, 30s, 40s, or 50s Daffy? Like he had so tuned Daffy Duck's voice in to the psychology of how Daffy Duck was with Tex Avery or Friz Freleng or Chuck Jones, or different directors, that he could dial in the psychology of that character that specifically, even though we all supposedly know what Daffy Duck sounds like. So that's usually what I'm looking for, is trying to find that psychological center of the character. And then the sauce or the tone comes later.
Wow.
I'm going to go
You just made me feel
now.
Well, no,
I love that.
It made me feel so much better, because honestly, I never think of myself as someone who has a million different voices. And like many of the rest of us, I came to this more from either a stage acting or a film acting or whatever before we came to this. And all acting that's where you start, right? You have to start on the side with the character before you figure out how that is expressed into the world. So this made me feel better about my own career. Thanks, Kristen.
I love that. Crispin, I feel like you're the Lee Strasberg school of voice acting, and I'm the Stella Adler school of voice acting. Because while I love paying attention to, I mean, obviously you have to know what motivates you and what your motives are. But the first thing that I pay attention to is, how do they stand? What are they wearing? Where do they breathe? How are they physically built? And so the first thing that I do is I find out, well, first their name, because whoever named the character, like, names are very revealing. Then I love to see a drawing. And if I don't, a drawing is really great. That's like the first clue, because then I can get into a posture, I can get into a stance, depending on how they garb themselves or what their skin is made of or what their mouth is shaped like. That's going to determine so much of what their voice is going to sound like. And then once I have that stuff down is when I'll start looking at what motivates them, because it's all sort of, for me, encapsulated in what their package looks like.
Sure. And that's the difference between inside out voice acting and outside in voice acting. I mean, historically, all acting has been outside in. It's been far more like choreography. If you go back to Bharatanatyam dance theater or Japanese No theater or Greek tragedy, where you have the Cathurn eye and the mask and everything else, there was external requirements that you had to be able to fill that character. And when I work with my students on developing new characters, we do commedia dell'arte. I give them Italian commedia masks and have them, because the mask gives them permission to play a character they never would have given themselves permission to play before. It's only in the 20th century, with the invention of film, that we have this sort of inside out obsession with figuring out the psychology of the character. But so often now, what people are calling for, especially with something like in video games even more so, is they want cinematic, they want it real. Well, there's nothing real about voice acting. What it is it believable, right? I don't care about real, I care about believable. And so it depends. If you want to do the inside out way of doing it, that's great. You want to do the outside in, it's all trying to get at the same target. It's just whichever tactic works. I mean, I come from Suzuki actor training, where I'd be doing like kabuki style movements and stuff on stage, and that's what I bring when I come to my voice acting stuff. So the psychology stuff is just, it's easier because that's what people are more
It's just an easier way for you to clue into it. It's the place that you go in first. Like, I go out in just first. It's where it's more obvious for me doing those characters. Love it though.
And I think that's also a great answer to this question too, is that every actor finds their own way in, and you learn what your process is through doing. And some of us don't have a specific process for all things. You just have a big toolbox, and you just say, okay, well, what's appropriate for this particular project, for this particular medium, for this particular character, for whatever you're working on, or what's appropriate for where I am today as a human being and as an actor, right? We use different tools for different circumstances. So the fact that there's an outside in and there's you could do inside out, you could do outside in, up and down, I don't know, all the different things. I think that it's nice that we all have those options. Did anybody else have any specifics or things that they add to that? Any ways in?
Well, I think part of it is just, like I've said this a lot, just talking to yourself, if I'm driving and I'm listening to NPR and there's like, we are interviewing now live from, Lebanon, this is what is happening. Like, my Arabic accent isn't perfect, but I'll start like imitating or repeating what they're saying just to get into how does it roll off your tongue? And so I'm constantly just imitating things I see in movies, or like when I was watching Money Heist, it's awesome that Tokyo is always narrating, because then I really want
Tokyo is you. I still say Tokyo is you.
Well, I want to be her.
5 seconds of watching that. That's you. Sorry.
But no, so it was really great because she narrates, and so the whole time she's like, and I'm like, oh, that's how you do it. So I'm trying to learn a Castilian accent. So I feel like practicing stuff, we can't just leave it here. It's got to roll off our tongue, or else it's just this like imagination thing that doesn't exist, and we got to ground it. So practice.
I'm a big believer in intuition too, like what sort of your first impulse is, and to listen to that and trust it and go with it, and then book 0 job.
I subscribe to the Lucy Poe method. That is,
yeah. There are a lot of different ways to go into doing a character and come in with a voice and a character for it. And sometimes the first one you go with, like, sometimes your intuition, like you said, works great. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you want to play against characters. So I know, like, some of you mentioned, like, looking at the character and what they look like and everything. But frequently it's better to go a different direction. They'll tell you if they want a parrot voice. If it's a parrot, if the character is a parrot, you'll know. It'll be very clear. So if they're not asking for a parrot voice, try something totally different. So I find if I'm not happy with one of those approaches, because I love all those different approaches, and I'm just not happy with what I'm coming up with, it's great to reach into that toolbox and like, you know what, let me do it the other way around. Let me try it this way. Let's just see when something, maybe an impression, maybe something I was mimicking a couple days ago, maybe I'll try it here. Does it work?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a knowing when you found it also. I think having the different options, because I can't say that any one of those always works for me, or at least makes me happy or helps me book the gig. It's kind of jumping around.
And I feel like there's just shitty impressions. Like, I'm not good at impressions, but if I try to do an impression, that could become a character that people aren't going to go, oh, that's Christopher Walken, but it's my really crappy Christopher Walken. And then it works for a character that has nothing to do with Christopher Walken. And I feel like that also is helpful. Lucy,
you just got to be careful you don't get good at that impression.
Yes.
Once you're booked for doing it poorly, and then like, wait a minute, I sound like hang on.
Do you guys find that you use different processes when you're doing a character for an audition versus when you're doing a character or trying to find a character in session? And even if I know for some of us, Jen, you talk about this a lot, that you did a very different voice, or it was a very different character when you auditioned.
Yeah.
That you didn't even think that you thought they made a mistake when they said they cast you as this role.
Yeah.
And so, in a sense, it's different. Is there something that you do differently in auditions versus what we're doing in sessions?
Well, I mean, that was an instance where I think that if I had been in a live audition for that one, if I had a casting director explaining the character to me, I probably would have done what I would imagine Farah to sound like. But that was one where I was home and I only had pages that were sent to me, and I had a little blurb. And from what I was able to gather from that, I imagined this villain. And so I did this villain audition, having no idea that she was a hero, having no clue at all. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's different. All you can do is take the information that's available to you and make the assumptions you're going to make. And that was an instance where Andrea Toyas knew me and had heard things that I'd done. And I guess she could hear within the villain and within other stuff I had done for World of Warcraft that, oh, if I give her a little bit of an adjustment, she'll make it like this. And I knew that it would adjust. So
I think that's one of the missing puzzle pieces too. Is for me personally, a lot of times when I do an audition specifically, I feel very lost because you only get 2 or 3 takes. Sometimes they're very specific, so I'll dig through 15 takes I did and just wreck my mind over which one, to send. And then I love when you book a job and you go in the booth. I love just having the person there, like, what do you want? Like, now we can talk face to face. Do you want it like this? Do you want it like that? No, perfect. Let's go. And that kind of, I guess, the final piece of the puzzle for me. And it ends a little bit of the anxiety of the audition, at least. So, but I say this all the time. It's always the ones you kind of throw away are the ones you book, because you can kind of hear it in your voice that you just let yourself go a little bit and you weren't so wrapped up. And there's been a million times that I've done, in my opinion, of course, these amazing auditions that were fabulous, and I was so pleased with the audition that I didn't mind if I didn't even get the job, because I was like, hey, I did my best, and I'm just happy with what I put forward, and if I don't get the job, it's not because of anything I did, it's just that they weren't looking for something like that, so that's okay. That's just the nature of the beast of the business.
That ultimately for me what it's all about, that as an actor, all you can control is that one performance for your audition. And as long as you're happy with that, then you've done your job. Because after that, the casting it could be a myriad of things that you have absolutely no control over. So in order for your own sanity and peace of mind, you just have to be, as long as you're happy with that audition, that you've done your job. That's it. You're done.
Yeah. A very smart teacher said to me many years ago that every audition, you're auditioning not for that job or that role, you're auditioning for your career. That you're always auditioning for your career. So long as you're happy with the job you did and you walk away excited about it or pleased, and I've had that sensation of like being satisfied in that performance-y way, like I did a good one, that was a great one. And it doesn't matter if you book it or not, because every time that your work goes out, it speaks for you, and then you'll be thought of for the next project. So that's...
Does anyone do this? No, my defense mechanism against all the the rejection that we all get is that I literally will like forget about stuff like minutes after.
Me too,
so
always.
If my agent calls me and says, "Oh, well, you booked this," and I think, when did I do that? What was that? And then I get to the job and I'm thinking, you know what? I don't even remember what I did here. Can you play me a sample?
Yeah.
But
with voiceover auditions, especially, the same way, Paul.
Yeah.
Theo, what were you going to say?
I do that too, but I think it's just I have memory problems.
Theo just gets so many auditions he can't possibly remember.
That's...
What am I?
We're in Overwatch together, Theo.
Sorry, he just voiced somebody in Mulan, so excuse me.
That's right. It's so cool to watch all of the different things that everybody has going on. And also, I love so much how many different backgrounds that everyone on this panel and everyone in our cast comes from in terms of coming to this particular job. I know, some of us came from theater, and some from film, and some from animation. And Jeannie, I know you have a bunch of different things that you do, and I feel like the Overwatch world the Overwatch community doesn't know you necessarily as well because you are new to us, and we welcomed you in while we were all essentially in quarantine. So can I put you on the spot a little bit and have you talk about like how you came into this world? Like, were you doing, not how you came into this world? We know.
How were you born, Jeannie? How were you born?
Into the world.
We all do this. Like, we came in like that.
She was feet first.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but were you, have you started as a writer, as an actor? I know all of the different lanes you are in. Where did
I have done so many things because my brain demands it of me. I've got this left brain that just wants to be creative and wants to try everything. I've got this right brain that's just like, what is wrong with you? So I a lot of the time it was really hard for me to concentrate on one thing. And as much as I see, some people have a straight arrow and they know what they want to do, I felt like I knew what I wanted to do, but I got distracted with like, oh, shiny things, I'm going to become an artist. And so I went to art school. you know, and then I ended up as a makeup artist. So I ended up on set because my art skills took me to makeup, and then someone saw me on set and I ended up auditioning for a role and felt like, wow, I don't have the tools to become an actor. So now I'm going to go and study to become an actor. And so then I studied to become an actor. And meanwhile, I'm writing because I felt like I don't see anybody in the stories that I really connect with. So I started writing, and that's where my heart is. You know, I love human stories. Just talking about or listening to Crispin, I'm all about dissecting character. I want to know what your fears are, what you need, what are you moving towards, what are you moving away from, your whys, your patterns. I love that. And so when it came to voiceover, you know, I'm a Brit in LA, and you get a lot of people going, "Oh, I love the way that you sound. Oh, that's fantastic."
I want to know who's talking to you like that. Oh, hello, Sarah. Oh,
nice British girl.
talking to you like that. Exactly. Can't sing that note that the ones that belong to
They were terribly evil people. So, you know, I thought, well, yeah, my voice is my voice. We've all got something unique going on. I love doing accents. I love the British Isles accents because I am British-born Chinese, Vietnamese. But so like Carol was saying, I love to just listen to like, oh, that's really cool how this Ethiopian woman is speaking English and you know, and like Castilian Spanish or Vietnamese, you know. So I love just the sounds of human beings. And so I thought, well, I'm going to make a reel. I'm going to try this. As actors, you know, we have to make a living, and it's not always consistent, especially if you haven't made it. You know, I know some of us have worked in restaurants or done catering gigs and, you know, tutoring children. And so, you know, it was just something like, what else can I do that's still creative, that still allows me to tell the story of another human being, not necessarily on camera, and that's totally fine. And so I made a reel. You know, I just went online, I looked at lots of resources, I listened to lots of interesting voices, and also what was in my wheelhouse. You know, I wanted to be authentic to what was within my range. I don't have a huge range. I don't have like a higher range voice. I can go quite deep, but so just knowing what I was capable of at that time, I created a reel, and I was really fortunate. I had a friend who was at Vox here in LA, and she was really, really gracious, and she walked my reel in to Tom Lawless and at the time I think it was Alyssa Weisberg, and they were really great. They were very open about it. They, you know, and I remember sitting there just thinking, this is just opportunity, and hopefully I've done enough work for that opportunity to meet. Hopefully I've done enough work to meet that opportunity, and so they took me on. At 3 years, it took me 3 years to book Overwatch. So, you know, in that 3 year time, still getting rejection from on camera, still writing and fulfilling, you know, my sole passion. And feeling like, God, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I'm doing these auditions. I think my setup maybe isn't good enough. What's going on here? And then when it came to Overwatch, I remember going into the booth, and I rented a half an hour time over at Voice Tracks West, and Art Butler directed me. He was a session engineer, and he was just like, just throw it away. Just do what feels natural to you. Blizzard loves just, you know, they listen for the person. They're listening for the real person in there, even though you can create character. So let's just have a go at this robot who's not a robot, but who is a robot, but don't play her like a robot. You know? So I, you know, I was like, ooh, too much direction. So I just dug deep into who I was, with the givens of the fact that, you know, the breakdown of who they told me she was. And then I let it go, because I'd already had 3 years of feeling like, I don't know what I'm doing, I feel terrible, and just flogging myself. And that gift of letting go of, you know, the pressure, you know, let somebody else decide whether you're good enough. You do a good job. you feel good about it. And that's exactly how I felt. I walked out of the booth thinking, that was such a good experience and it was worth it. And even if I don't,
oh wow,
it adds to my that nugget of gold. That,
Right. And that speaks very similarly to what Thea was talking about. You know, that you have to find some way. We have to find some way as actors to be satisfied with the experience of the audition, or to be satisfied with that being that unique experience, and then the booking of the job is a completely different thing. And do you guys find? I'm curious. Was there ever with any of you some big risk you took career-wise, whether in an audition or at a job or in your career in general, just some big, huge risk that you took that, or what felt like a big, huge risk that you took that then surprised you, like something particularly scary that you had to do that then surprised you on the other side?
Headshots.
As an actor. Your headshots are scary?
My headshots, the only reason I moved to Los Angeles trying to become a voice actor, and when I told the story I think the other day a little bit, but I'll quick recap. Basically, my first and only headshots that I've had professionally done were for a job at Universal Studios when I have the honor of portraying Optimus Prime and Megatron in the live meet and greet, and so that automatically kind of gave me a nice daily gratification of meeting children and doing that. But that was something stepping out of the comfort zone, because I'd never done anything like that, and doing an improv something like that. And that was something that when I spoke to Andrea Toyas when I was recording Roadhog, we really bonded over that, and we really got a really cool conversation going about how it was one of my favorite, most rewarding parts of the job is being able to tell children how brave they are and how proud I am of them and how smart and strong they are, because maybe they don't hear that enough. And the kids of our world need to know that they're amazing young children. They need to know that they can do anything they want. Optimus thinks you're amazing. And if I went to see a theme park, the first thing I thought is, what would I want to see? And I'd be like, I want him to blow my mind. I want him to tell me that I looked at my satellites tonight and I saw you driving here and you used an eco-friendly car and I couldn't be more proud. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So for me, that was a little bit of it helped a lot. You know what I mean? It helped it was a great confidence booster going into, because it's a brutal world, voice acting. You know what I mean? You hear no a lot more than you hear yes. So, just keeping the faith within and keeping your own fire and your inner fire built. Like Jeannie said, you are worth it and you are amazing. So dig deep and find what makes you, you.
I love that. Go, you can.
It's funny. I'm sitting here racking my brain, and then I'm remembering there was a point I had been with a very good voiceover agent for a few years, and Jeannie, like you, I had been auditioning, and I was auditioning every day and not booking anything. And I'd finally gotten to this place, and I kept worrying, is this going anywhere? Is this not? And I just started booking. I just begun booking. I just booked Avatar: The Last Airbender. I had just booked a couple of commercials. It just had started. And a few casting directors started saying to me that I should be at a different agency. They started saying, oh, you really should be somewhere else. And now, mind you, these agents had just invested years into me. And meanwhile, I'm hearing this from casting directors. And it happened enough times that I went in and sat down with my agent and said, this is what these casting directors are saying to me. What do you think? And he kind of shrugged and didn't say anything. Well, then I heard it more. And I went in a second time and I said, look, I don't know what to do with this. What do I say? This is what they're saying to me. And he said, why don't you look around? And he said it in this very weird, kind of cold, tossed off way. And this is a guy who I knew really cared about me and had invested. And I was like, what? I was really thrown by his reaction. And I was like, oh my God, did I put my foot in it for saying something? He's, why don't you look around? So this happened right before I was going away on a trip. And I went on the trip, and while I was away, I sort of got to unplug and think for a little bit. And somehow while I was out of the scene. I said, okay, I am going to look around. And I made a list while I was away of where I was going to look and who I was going to talk to and who I was going to ask to introduce me and what I was going to do. And I sort of just said, you know what? I'm going to throw the chips where they're going to fall. I'm going to see how this is going to go. It must be time for me to move on. I got back. I started making phone calls to meet people. And the next day, my agency announced that they were closing their commercial division. And so he obviously couldn't tell me, but he knew what was coming down the pike. He wanted me to wrap my head around it. And I was the first person out of that agency who had appointments all over town. And so then I got to pick where I was going to go from there, but I was ready. Like other people sort of scrambled when it happened and had an extra month of trying to figure it out and figure out where they'd fall. But his reaction and my taking the risk and then my getting myself set up for it really set me up to succeed and to have my pick of the litter of where to go from there. And I've been with the same agency from that switch for 15 years now. So I remember that was a moment. I was like, oh my gosh, did I screw up? And no, it was great. And he actually did me a favor.
Oh, you're muted, Angela.
Yeah.
Kristen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was working as a theater actor. I mean, I'd grown up wanting to basically be Gene Kelly. I wanted to be an actor, singer, dancer, and went off to New York to go to grad school. And right after grad school, booked a part on a Broadway show and was working, Broadway, regionally, off Broadway, whatnot. And then, but I'd always been fascinated with Japanese animation. I'd grown up watching anime and had been really passionate about it. And a friend of mine put me in touch with studios, and I started dubbing some Japanese animation in New York while I was doing theater. And I found myself getting more excited about working on Japanese animation and working in animation than I was about being on Broadway. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here, right? And so then okay, I have to make this decision. I guess I need to follow this voice acting thing more fully. And New York's probably not the best place for it. I should probably move to LA. So I moved to LA, and my mom was like, do you have a job lined up yet? And I'm like, Mom, it doesn't really work like that. And so
Where Mom and my parents hang out.
I know, right? And so I got out to LA, and I booked two really big roles. I booked the villain in the Cowboy Bebop movie, and I booked a role in the 4th season of Digimon as one of the main characters, and I got fired from both of them. Because fired. I got let go from both jobs because my skills were not good enough yet. They've been really good in the New York environment, but when I'd come to LA, I was playing in a different league, and I just was not up to speed with the LA things. In Cowboy Bebop, it was partly because I was miscast. I'm like 10 years younger than the rest of the voice cast, and I was playing a character that needed to be a tank, that needed to be really big, and I just didn't sound heavy enough. And then with Digimon, I just wasn't up to speed. And then I was like, heartbroken. What the hell? I've come out here to do this, and I get fired from two really high-profile jobs that I was really excited about. I was like, okay, back to basics. What do I got to do? And for like the next 6 months, I'm taking classes and I'm working with people that I've met in the industry and trying to figure out how to do it. And ironically enough, I got cast as the twin brother in Digimon of the character I gotten fired as. So I wasn't good enough to play him, but I was good enough to play his twin brother, right? And so I get cast as a twin brother, and I'm working, and it's the same woman who was directing me in Cowboy Bebop. And I said, ooh, I think I figured out how to do that tank character in Bebop. And I did the voice just randomly for her. And she's like, that's it. How come you couldn't do that 6 months ago? And I was like, I don't know. I just wasn't ready. Like I hadn't gotten up to speed, but now I'm there. So yeah, sometimes it's when we get our butt handed to us that we have to sort of recreate and figure out what we've got to do to get to the next level.
That is so true. So true. Paul, do you find, because I know you too come from a Broadway background and a theater background, do you find that there is a lot of, do you find that there are things from the theater that you would take with you into voice acting? Like, I know for me, it definitely feels like the vocal training that we got becoming theater actors is super helpful endurance-wise. Do you feel like there's anything else crossover that helps out?
Yeah, I mean, I think the energy level that is required, to be on stage, that kind of intensity of energy and intensity of vocal projection, I mean, I think definitely has helped in terms of, doing voiceovers, because I think you can, because you're in front of a mic, and because you are in a booth, you can kind of start feeling like, oh, well, I don't want to be too big here, or I don't want to be, you have a tendency to try to make yourself a little bit, smaller. But, working on stage, it's like, that's the energy level that you have to have all the time, so, and it gives you a place of where to go, that you have a bigger range, of so, I mean, I think that's helped tremendously, in terms of doing theater, 8 shows a week,
Right.
Yeah.
This is going to be a terrible segue, but I gotta go straight to some fan questions, because I've been asking all these questions that I want to hear your answers to. I gotta ask questions that the people want to hear the answers to.
You mean there are people watching?
There are people watching, you guys. They're watching our hang. If you could direct an animated short of your character, what would it be about? Or if you could, let's say if you could create it, or you don't have to direct it. If you were writing, creating, whatever, your animated short, what would it be about? What, Caro? Oh my God, you're so excited.
Sombra and Symmetra are robbing a bank. that's all I got.
That's good. You can't tell them about our weekend plans. What are you doing? You can't tell the world. You can't do it.
I got nothing.
So people need to understand that when I first came and started working on Overwatch, I thought I was a secondary character or a tertiary character, because I saw Winston as sort of like Beast in X-Men. He's like Hank McCoy. He's blue, he's furry, he's a scientist. He probably says, oh, my stars and garters. Like, he's just a nerd who's playing with his science stuff. It wasn't until a year worth of recording on Overwatch that I finally realized that, like, Winston was the heart of the team, that, like, he's the one who's got the Rolodex who pulls everybody in. And I was like, oh, I'm Professor X. I'm not Beast. I'm like a big deal, aren't I? And they're like, yeah, you're a big deal. I was like, okay. So then early 2019, they'd say, okay, we can't tell anybody about this, but we're going to be doing Overwatch 2, and we need to have you come in and do the next animated short. And so they showed me 0 Hour, which is the short that they aired at BlizzCon in 2019, right? So they showed me the animatic for 0 Hour, and I'm sitting in the... And I tell people, like, I'm usually a pretty zen voice actor. Like, things don't get under my skin. But, man, Overwatch will make me choke up. And I'm in the studio watching stuff, and Overwatch will make me choke up. And they showed me the animatic for 0 Hour, and I just looked at them and I said, did you just make this for me? Like, how did you know? Like, did you just decide you were going to make a film just for me? Okay, let's record this. But how do I avoid, like, tearing up? All right, let's do this. Like, yeah, so, I mean, as far as I'm totally spoiled. Like, they just keep making stuff that I love. I don't know what else to ask for.
Aww.
Yay.
Winston's such a pivotal part to Overwatch 2. He is such the aortic valve of the heart. You know what I mean? He is the pumping, pulsating lifeblood. I love it. Aw. Thanks, Josh. Absolutely.
Lucy, what would your short be about?
I mean, I always say that I love so much to be surprised and educated by what they come up with. So sometimes, like, I don't dare go there because the writers are so great, and I feel like, ooh, I don't want to, But I would love to, like, this is a little bit boring, but I would love to just delve into, like, the story of Mercy's parents, that we know, were killed in the war, and the background of her education, how she came to do what she does. And then I would love to find out more about her and Moira. There's like a lot of relationships, why is she such a slut? That so much. No, joking.
So easy.
But I think that there's a lot of drama in her past that I would love to explore. And like I think there's like darkness that she has turned to good and light for herself, but I'd love to explore that and find out all the darkness and drama that occurred in her younger years.
Theo, you look like you had some ideas there for the Zen Master.
Let's see. I think I would love to see a short where Zenyatta is trying to learn how to juggle. And it's like, this is frustrating. I am not enjoying it. You know?
in the big top.
It'll have to be like the first. It'll have to be like the first frame of like what he's doing, hanging out before everything happens. Like the first frame.
Zenyatta is the Christopher Walken of Overwatch.
Yes.
This is frustrating.
Yay.
I don't like this.
Very frustrating.
I juggle.
Keith, what about you?
I think, I feel like I don't dare story-wise either, because I'm always so surprised and I just love what they come up with. But I would, if they did one with Torbs, is I would really love to see the dichotomy, to have some of it where you're seeing his most loving, being most loving as a father and as a family man, but at the same time, somewhere in that to also show how fierce he can be in battle. He's completely determined. So I don't envision the story, but I envision it showing both sides of him at his fiercest and at his most loving. And to me, just having that within one short would be my dream, just to kind of cover all angles of him like that would be really cool. Robbing a bank, probably, with Sombra. Robbing a bank with Sombra.
Guys were very serious.
Wait, you've got turrets and I've got turrets. We should hang out. I'd love to, for Symmetra. I'd just love to see how she connects with the rest of the gang. You know, especially because other than she has the Vishkar connection, and we still don't know whether she's going to figure out that they are shady. I'd just love to see which way does she go? Does she go to the dark side? Does she go to Talon? Does she go to Overwatch? What happens? We don't know. Does she just dance like this the whole time? I mean, who knows what she does? Who knows? Jen, I know you've talked about what you would like.
I'm so predictable with the answer to this. Okay, just picture it. A therapy session with Farah and Anna. Done. Mother-daughter therapy session.
Like Dr. Cat style.
Done. Yes, totally.
Exactly.
Maybe
Mercy could be the therapist, even though she's not that kind of
that would get a little incestuous, I think. I think that's like a cross of
All right, fair.
We'd have to go to some.
Farah would be talking mostly about Mercy.
Right, exactly. I know.
We're going to have to talk about Mercy. Fair.
Yeah, I know.
Fair point.
Yeah.
We already talked about this one, but but I feel like what keeps you motivated or stops you from getting burnt out on the negative aspects of the industry?
Nutella.
Hazelnut spread.
Doing other things. Eating is a good one. Yeah. Eating.
Also, like, in particular, now that we're on this Overwatch panel, the love from the fans and the, like, every time you pop your head out and, into the Overwatch fandom, there's, like, this deluge of love that just, comes over you. So I think that keeps me motivated a lot of times to see, even if it's just one person who sends you a message and is like, this meant so much to me, and thank you, you're like, oh yeah, that's why we do it, right? To spread love.
Yeah, if I can kind of piggyback on that, especially I think right now, like if this whole pandemic situation has taught us anything, it's that, the arts they have value, and what we do has value because, I think a lot of times an actor or, if you're a singer or just any kind of artist, it's in our society, it's kind of, maybe not necessarily, it doesn't get the respect that I think is.
Yeah. It's like, but what do you really do?
It's like, sure, you're an actor, but, we've seen that, with Netflix or video games, like people need this, they need this kind of thing, right now. And I think that's, just knowing that it's very gratifying.
Yeah, I think when things are good, when things are going well career-wise, the creativity itself motivates me and keeps me going because I love what I do. So I love, booking something and just focusing 100% on that while I'm doing that, and then going to another session and focusing 100% on that one. when things are not so great, if you have a bad session, a bad audition, we've all had days that don't go well, career-wise even. When that happens, for me, it's always my family that motivates me, because I always know I'm going home to my family. So no matter how bad it gets, the director can hate me. It can just be the worst. And it doesn't happen often, but I think many of us have probably had that day where you're like, I was miscast on this, and I don't feel good, and I can't wait till this is over. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to listen. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm going home, and my family's going to love me just the same. So that gets me through when it's difficult.
Sure. I definitely find that oh, sorry, Kristen, go.
Oh, no, I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Angela.
No, please.
There's content that I have always loved, that I go to, that always sort of nourishes me and makes me feel good, whether it's that movie or that album or that story or that book or whatever. And obviously, because I'm a fan of animation, a lot of it is animated. And I think to myself, oh my God, these things mean so much to me. And then life can get rough and tough. And sometimes I want to go back to those to sort of, feel better about myself, like a warm blanket. And I think, sometimes things, as Keith was saying, things get tough and things get rough, and you're like, what am I thinking? And you lose perspective. And I will say I'm guilty of getting on YouTube and watching reaction videos. Like, I watched a whole bunch of reaction videos to the Overwatch shorts. And it reminds me, because as voice actors, we record in a vacuum. We don't have an audience, and I come from the theater, and I'm used to having an audience there that I can see whether they're responding to me or not, or whether I'm connecting with them or not. And as voice actors, we don't have that. Even in this panel, I don't have that, which is why I'm on the Discord. Like right now, I'm watching on the Discord, sort of seeing how people are reacting to us, because that makes me go, we're doing good, I think. Yeah, everyone wants to chime in the Discord. So,
tell us if we're not.
That's all right. I only figured it out because I got on like 2 days ago for our diversity panel, and I figured it out then, and otherwise I probably wouldn't be on it now. But this idea of like watching the reactions of people, and seriously, people tearing up and crying at watching our performances in Overwatch. At watching the shorts, because they're so damn good, and it reminds me of like, oh God, yes. Like this is what we're doing for people as we're in the trenches trying to get this, and not just Overwatch, but our career, right? We're in the trenches in our career trying to get things done, and it can become overwhelming, and to take a moment and try to look at it from the audience's perspective, and just see how magical it must look what we're doing from their perspective, and realizing, right, I contribute to that. I contribute to that magic. And that was the magic that fueled me and nurtured me when I was younger. Yeah, okay, wow. Let me refocus on what's going on here, because that's my contribution. That's what I can share with other people. That's what I'm doing to uplift from in my corner of the universe, holding up my corner of the universe.
Sure, just reminding ourselves that there is value even when we don't necessarily feel like we are being, so often we don't feel like we're being seen or heard as actors. Like that's one of the big fears is, will I, if I put this work out there, will it be seen? Will it be heard? Will my voice be heard? And getting to see so many people having such lovely experiences or reactions, or hearing about families coming together or different things because of this game, has certainly that's certainly helped me through certain lean times. And like I can't remember specifically who someone said, I think it was actually Paul, so just like having other lanes. What I used to think was career ADD, I now just realize is diversifying, like you do with any investment, and our time and our energy is an investment. So part of what also keeps me motivated is knowing that there's no time to feel crappy about this one thing. Like assess, figure out what you did wrong, figure out what you did right, and move on, because you got to make more things for people to enjoy, or for people to have those reactions to.
So you guys, I've missed really seeing you guys and hanging out with you guys, and you guys motivate me, because every one of what you have said today, there's been something in it that I take in and I go, that's really true. And I really want to thank you all for, all of your experiences and your opinions that you have bring to this, because I learn something, every time I'm with you guys, and it's better in person. I do have to say, like over sushi or sake, which we've all done.
Yeah.
But it's just I'm really so thankful, that because when you're doing it, it's like you're just by yourself, and so you go through the trials and tribulations of it by yourself, and you start thinking, oh my God, I just like I blew that, why didn't I, But then when you hear all of your stories, that everybody has the same experience of doing lots of auditions, not booking something, and then you book something and it's great, but then all that downtime in between where you're thinking, oh my God, I really suck. How could I suck so bad? You guys make it all realize that this is what we've chosen, this is what we go through, and the collective feeling, of us together is just so great. So I really thank you so much. I've missed you guys. I really have.
These panels are really, for everyone watching, these panels are also for us, such a nice chance for all of us to catch up.
Yes.
Because we don't see each other so much. And also to bring Jeannie again into the fold, and Boris more, because we've only gotten to see you once live in person at BlizzCon. Just we miss each other. I miss having you guys over the house.
But also, I think and I think you probably all feel this way, I get motivated by reminding myself of the privilege that we have to do this. I waited tables for 7 years, and I hated it, and it was so hard, and it was like banging my head against the brick wall. And now being able to do this for a living, that's a privilege. Of course, we worked hard, obviously, but there's so many people dreaming of doing what we're doing. So I think that for me, a lot of times I have to remind myself, like, all right, well, it might not be going so well right now, or I might be down, but I am able to live my dream, so that motivates.
As Paul was talking about relationships and how we've connected and all that, I had a question. Do you guys remember who won Best Actress Oscar in 1994?
No.
Okay, that's my point.
That's your fried green tomatoes, just
like Gwyneth Paltrow for Shakespeare in Love. Maybe. But do you remember your first grade teacher? Do you remember do we remember the people who have really affected us? And I think about when I have had a really crappy day, it's what are the relationships that I keep nurturing that are giving me love and giving me, peace, and you guys are inspiring me. And that's where I feel like a lot of the gamers who have connected with other gamers online, and they haven't been able to maybe make friends in their city, but then somehow they have that friend in Kuwait or that friend in Argentina. And like the fact that we keep connecting like this and making the real connections, I feel like that's what keeps us going, because it doesn't matter what voice actor won Best Voice Actor Award in 2012, because in the end, like, we don't remember that stuff. We remember the people who've actually affected us and given us inspiration. I feel like that's what we're always moving towards, right? More love.
Yeah. It was a wildly unexpected to have. Like, when you do things in the theater, you build these relationships with people over the course of the rehearsal process and the run of the show. So it makes sense that you would take those relationships forward. And even when you're working on a TV show with Les, you're working with people for a chunk of time. So you would expect that. It was wildly unexpected to find the cast family that I'm closest to of all the things I've ever done through this voiceover project on a game that none of us knew what it was when we first auditioned. That the combination of those two things is part of what keeps me going too, is remembering you never know what the next big one is going to be. Something you think is going to be little could end up being huge. Every audition, you really don't know what person you're going to meet on this tiny project that might lead to this thing, or this person you're going to meet on the street today. Things do just kind of blow, they blow my mind how they happen, because sometimes it just sneaks into your world rather than being with big fanfare. Like, you booked the next big show. My first Broadway show originated as a show that we did in Chicago for $200 a week at a regional theater, and it was set in a pool, and we did it in the freezing cold in Chicago. And we never would have known that was going to have the effect that it did. Yeah. And all this came to it with just, it's just another audition. We knew it was Blizzard, but it was another audition. I don't, with the exception of Kristen, I don't think any of us knew about Overwatch before we auditioned, right? I think, and you didn't. Oh, you didn't either. You didn't.
No, I didn't know. You understand? When I came in, again, I thought I was playing a secondary character, and I played this gorilla, and I thought, okay, whatever. And then I'm at BlizzCon, was it 2015, I think, or 2014, I think it was, because I was in World of Warcraft, and we were promoting Warlords of Draenor because I was playing Vindicator Maraud and that. And I'm backstage in the green room, and there's a little screen that shows what's showing on the big screen, and I'm just backstage, just sort of chilling out before we go for the World of Warcraft panel, and this film starts playing on the screen that looks like a Pixar film. It's this bright, shiny, happy. It was first Overwatch trailer. They were premiering it at that BlizzCon, and I'm sitting watching. What is this Pixar film? Wait a minute, there's a gorilla. I play a gorilla. Wait a minute, is this my game? Overclock, Overdrive? What is this? I have no idea. I had no idea. Yeah, I didn't even know what the name of the game was, and it wasn't until literally the gorilla came on the screen that I was like, I think that's me. Yes, that's me. Like, and then everyone's like, "That's you." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." So I didn't know where this is going. And even after that, I thought Tracer was the main character, and we would go into record, and I say, "Well, I would do my the first character film was Recall with Winston, right? That was the first sort of cinematic that we did that released on YouTube after the trailer. And I said, well, you're making one of these for every character in Overwatch, right? And they're like, well, we don't know. I was like, you don't know? Really? I thought I was just one of many. And they're like, no, you're sort of the center. I was like, when was somebody going to tell me this? Like, no, I had no clue going into any of this.
Amazing. Amazing.
Awesome. Can we acknowledge Jen's amazing top? Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Show off the top.
Thanks. Wow. Yeah, it's like this plasticky.
Amazing.
Oh my God. It's like this plasticky material.
Yes.
It has buttons.
That's so cool,
guys.
Heel before Zod.
I know, it's so Zod, right? Josh, it's for you. Josh, it's for you.
Heel before Zod.
Kneel
I did
before Zod.
send you a message the other day, Jen, that I really wanted to see you in something iridescent because there was an article in the Atlantic about about iridescence in fashion, and I was like, this has got Jen all over.
I did a story about iridescence in fashion years ago when I was collecting iridescence. I've got like a lot of accessories with lots of iridescence. And,
are you wearing your yellow platforms?
I'm wearing socks. I don't have any platforms on right now. I have no. Can you imagine? I wear them in my sleep, Paul. I have to like
toss your
platforms off.
Toss your socks.
You know what? I have all these awesome ones. I have like ones that say all sorts of filthy words on them and are great, but I'm not. I'm just wearing little black nothing socks. I should have my good socks with me. What am I thinking?
Here's the question. If your character had a you-inspired skin, what would it be?
This is actually another repeat answer, but it's really the best answer. So I had a fan artist after I was at BlizzCon, and at that first BlizzCon, I wore my Kneel Before Zod t-shirt and metallic silver pants and my flame boots. And so an amazing artist, made a flame skin for Farah. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course Farah needs a flame skin. Yes. Of course she needs a flame skin. So that without a question would be the Jen inspired Farah skin. Some like fabulous vintage, like great colors flame skin.
Nice. George, what about you?
Farah.
Because Sigma does not. Sigma looks not quite like you. So what would you just look
I feel an insult coming on.
No, on the contrary, it is decidedly the opposite.
Yes.
So what would be Sigma's Boris inspired?
Yes, buddy?
Sorry, what's that?
If Sigma had a skin that was inspired by you, with his Boris skin, what would he like? What would he be rocking?
What, my fashion sense? I don't know, old man.
Or your crazy.
Like blue linen shirt and like orthopedic shoes or something like that.
Khakis.
Well, I mean, I'm wearing shoes. Exactly, he'd have shoes on those toes. So that is a good thing.
I put some shoes on Sigma. I think I put some socks and some shoes, maybe some clogs.
Making the tone voice.
But
Fair. Fair. Josh, what
Yeah, a
about you?
loosely fitting linen shirt of some sort. I think.
We get
We'll call him
Boris.
Summer Sigma. Summer. I shouldn't come up with names.
English patient Sigma.
Patient Sigma.
There you go. Ooh, a little Ray Fiennes in there. I like it. Ray Fiennes and Boris will take it. He will take it. Jeannie, what about you?
If Echo was going to wear anything from my wardrobe, it would probably be either leopard print, or leopard print.
Oh,
yes! Yeah. Awesome.
Wow. Makeup, I would have her made up with a little black nose, and then she could say her lines, but also put a little in there too. So yeah, flying leopard.
Yes,
I love
dig
it.
Cool.
I dig that. Anyone else have some winner? Yes, Kristen.
So I've always wanted to see Winston in a NASA flight suit, because I actually went to Space Academy when I was in high school and did all the simulators and did the whole week thing at Space Camp and whatnot.
You were Space Camp.
I was totally at Space Camp. Although when I was in high school, we called it Space Academy because Space Camp was for the little kids and Space Academy was the one where we got in the big simulators and did the whole thing. And I did the EVA with the air pads and the spacesuit and everything. I was a big.
So
Space
you
Academy
were
guy.
like a space cadet?
Yeah, no, I was going to major in theater and astrophysics when I was in college because I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be like a military pilot, and then I realized I have to kill people, and I was like, no, that's not good. Let me be an astronaut instead. So I was sort of obsessed with being an astronaut, and so I had a flight suit. When I came back from Space Academy, I had a NASA flight suit with all the patches on it and everything else. So I would love to see Winston in a NASA flight suit. I mean, he's got to be a NASA nerd.
Awesome.
Come on.
I mean, it would make
Doesn't he
sense.
have sort of like a skin like that? Some sort of like a no? He doesn't have a skin like that.
I haven't paid
like
very
some
close
sort of-
attention, but I haven't seen like a proper blue NASA flight suit with like the Apollo 11 patches and like Robert and Crippen from the first shuttle launch and all that kind of stuff on him. So that would be sort of old school nerdy NASA suit.
Josh, what about you? Because obviously, you two bear so much resemblance to your character.
I know, right?
So much,
Yeah.
so much physical resemblance.
I want to say maybe like he'd be wearing like a graphic tee and like sweatpants, just kind of like, and some like nice, really expensive like shoes, Jordans or something.
All right.
But maybe
We call him. What would we call him? Chill hog? What would we?
Bro hog.
The bro skin. It's the bro skin. I love it.
Bro hog. And he's just really chill and like instead of inhaling gas in the mask, like exhales like smoke out the mask or whatever. Like he's like vaping or something. He's like super.
Oh my
super
God.
hipster, like.
I think for Symmetra, I would need to give her higher heels because her heels are too practical. If it was me, she would have to be wearing high-heeled boots that come up to here with like a 4.5-inch heel instead of these like 2-inch heels that she's running around in. Because those are practically tennis shoes. So
they're practically flats. Yeah.
They're not exactly. That's not nearly as impressive. You guys, we only have a few more minutes, and I want to give everyone a chance to talk about anything else that they might be working on right now, and to let everybody know where to find them on the socials. And I'm going to start this, however, by saying all of you who are here, thank you so much for joining us. You can also join all of us from pretty much right after this panel on through the weekend. Everybody here and Chloe Hollings and Ben Zantoine and Johnny Cruz now are all doing signings this weekend through Streamily.com. You can check it out, Streamily.com/Overwatch. You can check out everybody's timings and all of those fun things. But I would like to pass this to you guys. Boris, where can everybody find you, and what are fun things that you might be working on that you want to share?
People can find me on my name in full. Just Google that, and then you'll get to my Twitter and Instagram. And on my Instagram, it'll say when I'll be signing some lovely Sigma prints this tomorrow and on Saturday, maybe on Sunday. And I'm working on all sorts of crazy stuff, but I'm not allowed to share any of that knowledge with anyone, which sounds really up my own.
But we can all
thing.
check out your game. So the one that we talked about
Yeah,
before.
oh, yes, you can.
Mention that to the people who came late.
It's called Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and it's out on Xbox and on PC, and now also on Switch as of right now.
It's a beautiful game.
Love it.
Did you play it, Josh?
I have played. I played the one before, not the newest one.
What?
I know, and now I'm
That's
ashamed.
the one you need.
So I'll get the new one today on Steam. Pop it up.
Please.
Jeannie, where can the people find you?
The people can find me at gbole, either on Instagram or the Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter very often, but yeah, on the gram. I'm also signing today at 2 p.m. and then Friday and Saturday. You can go to my Instagram and see when I'm signing and just come and hang out. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. A game was announced yesterday, but I'm terrible. I'm just like, tell me when I'm supposed to talk about it because I'm not going to remember. But they just announced a game that I did one of the voices for a professor. That's all I'm saying. But I think that's new.
Could be anything.
Could be anything. That's right.
Could be anything. Could be a Gilligan's Island game, and you're the professor. We'll never know.
I'm betting it's not a Gilligan's Island game.
I mean, it could be. How cool!
Okay, you're right.
Wouldn't you feel sheepish if it was? Look at that. They surprised you, Silverstein. Caro, where can everybody find you?
My Insta is Ravassa. My Twitter is Carolina Ravassa. I just started Twitch live streaming. I'm also on a game called Valorant, and I've been interviewing all the VAs there and the writer. And then I'm going to move over to you lovely people because I'm having a really good time chatting people up. So the Twitch is Carolina Ravassa. And I am soon going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign, guys, because I am crowdfunding for a film that I'm going to act in. I play a cosplayer and her trials and tribulations during quarantine. That's coming soon, so stay tuned. Please follow all those so that you can help me share because I want to do some crowdfunding and make the film happen. Ta-da!
I'm so excited about that. About that. Crispin.
My handles on social media are just Crispin Freeman, all one word, whether it's Twitter or Instagram, whatnot. I will acknowledge that I'm not really a big social media person. I put a lot of my energy into my podcast, which is called Voice Acting Mastery, which I've been running now for 9 years, which is sort of terrifying to think about.
And it's incredible. It's so good.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you, Anjali, for coming on it. I've interviewed Anjali on the podcast. We did a sort of swap interview when I got on your fun size videos, which was fun. Most of the stuff, I as Boris would say, I cannot talk about stuff that's coming up. I wait for like my fans to tell me when something I'm in has come out. And I go, oh, well, I guess it's public now. Because otherwise NDAs, I would just get in trouble. So I just sort of don't talk about it. But keep your eyes out. Things will come up, I'm sure. But otherwise, please check out my podcast. I try to share as much useful, valuable, practical information on the podcast about voice acting in the industry as possible. And otherwise, please head to our signings. I'm going to be doing one today at 1 o'clock after this panel and another one on Sunday. But there's a whole big schedule of all of us doing all these signings. If you want to come join us most of us, I think, are going to be streaming on Instagram Live or Twitch. So come join us and you can hang out with us there. I speak English for a living. Thank you very much.
So how about you?
What? Me?
You do. Oh, yes, you.
Find me on Instagram or Twitter at FeoChin, at FeoChin. I'll be signing today, tomorrow, and Saturday at 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. And if you're looking for more content, I did some voices on Mulan. You can find it on Disney Plus. And there's a terrific show called Bulge Bracket, and it's on Amazon.
Yes.
A lot of fun. And that's about it. Just wear a mask and please remember to vote.
Yes.
Yes. Everybody votes. If you need to find information, click over to nerdsvote.com. Not only do they have all the information you need about voting. They also have lots of really cool stats, so you can get those. Paul Nakauchi, where can people find you?
Just Paul Nakauchi on Instagram, just my name, and then on Twitter it's Paul Nakauchi #1. I don't really go on Twitter very much, but Facebook is just Paul Nakauchi. What's coming up? Let's see. There's a couple things that I did. Couple animated series that are going to be coming up, but they probably won't be coming out for another maybe year or so for Netflix, and one was for Marvel. So,
Nice.
So they'll be coming out, and then I'm on that game that Fia was the main character on, the Ghosts of Tsushima.
Oh,
but you didn't mention he has a major character. I have a small part in it. But so
that's exciting.
Games,
Listen for you. Cool, Jen.
Oh, wow. Okay. I am on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Twitch, all at Hey It's Jen Cohn, JenCohn. And I'm mostly an Instagrammer. I am less a Facebooker and less a Twitterer. So Instagram, if you're going to pick one, is where to go. And on Twitch, I stream twice a week. I stream on Mondays doing Ask Bird Mom streams, and either on Wednesdays or Fridays doing fashion streams, doing interview streams, doing styling streams, doing field trips, blah, blah, blah. It's super fun at Hey It's Jen Cohn on Twitch. And I too am shackled by my NDAs, so I can't talk about a few very cool things that are coming out, but I'm very excited. And so keep your eyes and ears open. And I'm And then I'm doing my signings for Streamily are tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York time, or 5 p.m. on the West Coast. And tomorrow at noon, New York time, so 9 a.m. West Coast time, because tomorrow night is Erev Rosh Hashanah. So Happy New Year to everyone, because New Year starts tomorrow night.
Yes.
Happy Rosh Hashanah, everybody.
Right. Oh, and happy new moon. Today is a new moon. Just remember that. So we've got the combo platter there.
Combo platter.
Lucy Pole.
Hello. You can find me at the letter U, love, LUCIE on Instagram and on Twitch. Lucy Pole Comedy on Twitter. And write down my address. It's and yeah, I do streams on Twitch. I'm on Instagram. I try to be funny on Twitter sometimes, and sometimes I rant, and sometimes I'm just happy that there's life on Venus. And and yeah, I'm signing at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, 2 p.m. tomorrow. And yeah, love, peace, happiness, wear a mask, vote. I can't vote. I'm not an American citizen, so remember, it's a privilege. And, it is. It's a privilege. Yes. You're laughing at my immigrant. No, it is. I live in this country, but I'm not a citizen. Not everybody is. There's all types of immigrant stories. So use your privilege. Exercise your right. Do it. You won't regret it, and be nice to people.
Yes.
Just do it.
Amen.
Yes.
Do it. You can find me on Instagram, Keith Silverstein. On Twitter, I'm at SilverTalkie, TALKIE. You can check me out there. As far as, I mean, like everybody else, I've got stuff in the pipe, but that I can't talk about. Recently, Netflix dropped Transformers: War for Cybertron Siege, and I play Jetfire in that. So check that out.
You do.
Yeah, I do. I made it sound like this, but
nuts here, Herbie, bum nuts.
And I'm signing this weekend. I'm signing Saturday and Sunday on Streamily, and I'll be live streaming on Instagram at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So come say hi.
Hey.
Yeah.
You can find me hunting rebel scum in your local Star Destroyer. Me and a bunch of the cast just celebrated season 3 on Netflix of Gretsuko being released. So that's our brand new, really amazing season. Really great cast, held by the incredible Erica Mendez and Ben Diskin for Haida and Retsuko. You can find me on Twitch also. I'm Optimus_Slimed. My social media is Cranky J on Twitter, and I'm Menace Just Made on Instagram. I'm all over the place. I had to cancel a signing today, but I'll be continuing the other ones on Saturday. So no worries there. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here. It was great to see everybody. So
Yes.
Yay.
Lily, where can we find you?
Well, let me tell ya. You guys, thank you for asking, Lucy. You guys can find me on the interwebs. My handle is usually Sweet Ange with 3 E's because we're selling. SWEEETANJ. You can also find me on the Facebook at my name. And as for things that are coming up, I do have signings. You can find all the times on my socials and all that. I still am doing my show on YouTube. I Am Fun Size. There are 3 of you on this channel that I have not yet, 4 of you on this channel that I have not yet had the joy of bringing on the show. So I'm looking forward to making that happen if technology allows me to. Jeannie and I tried, and technology beat me down. But the thing that I'm the most excited about being able to share right now is that a movie that I shot last year in New Orleans called Evil Eye is coming out on Amazon Prime Video on the 13th of October. It is a psychological thriller starring Sarita Chowdhury, who a lot of you might know from Jessica Jones and from Homeland, and Bernie White, who you know from practically every show known to man. So I'm very, very excited, and I want you all to see it. And Carolina was there helping me to audition when I was at BlizzCon last year. So, or helping me make a tape for it. It wasn't Blizz, it was some other thing. But anyway, so I'm very excited that it's coming out. It looks awesome, and the trailer is out now. So keep an eye out for that. Very, very cool.
Yay!
Yay, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I know we went over. I hope we didn't keep anyone too long, but we wanted to, it's hard to say goodbye. Thank you, Pax, for hosting us and for hosting our little party. And we will see you all out there in the world. Be safe, wear your masks, take care of yourself, take care of each other, because we are the only people we've got. So
if Roadhog can wear a mask, so can you.
And there it is.
Thank for doing an amazing job.
Yes, thank you. Totally beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
So great.
Great seeing all you guys.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.